Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, its beginnings and its influence. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is a self-defense martial art and combat sport based on grappling, ground fight, and submission holds. Regardless of age, size, gender, or physical limitation, any person can utilize the techniques and principles of Jiu Jitsu and reap the benefits of its practice. It prides itself as being known as the gentle art. It is one of the most potent, real-life fighting systems on the planet. It will be your second line of defense. Anyone can practice Jiu Jitsu. It is a martial art that sharpens the mind. It is a great workout. It is one of the best bases for MMA, or mixed martial arts. It builds character. It promotes continuous self-improvement, and the lessons learned can be applied in daily life. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu emphasizes taking an opponent to the ground and gaining a dominant position and using various techniques to force them into submission via joint locks or chokeholds. Joint lock. It is a grappling technique involving manipulation of an opponent's joints in such a way that the joints reach their maximal degree of motion and hyperextension. Chokehold. It is a general term for a grappling hold that critically reduces or prevents either air or blood from passing through the neck of an opponent. As stated in the slide before, the two groups are joint locks and chokes. Although many joint locks are allowed in BJJ, most competitions restrict most, if not all, that involve knee, ankle, or spine. Many, if done correctly, frequently result in permanent damage. These include arm bars, kimuras, americanas, straight arm lock, omoplata, marcelo-plata, banana split, aka the electric chair, twister, wrist lock, heel lock, toe hold, knee bar, straight ankle lock, and many others. In BJJ, chokes put pressure on the carotid arteries and may apply pressure to the nerves in the neck. Chokes include rear naked choke, bow and arrow choke, guillotine choke, sleeve choke, cross collar choke, DRS choke, anaconda choke, arm triangle choke, north-south choke, crucifix choke, logoplot, loop choke, lapel half Nelson choke, and many others. Mitsuyo Maeda, the first student of Judo's founder Kano Jigoro, was given a demonstration at the De Paz Theater in Brazil, where Carlos Gracie was in attendance in 1917. Carlos decided that he wanted to learn, and Maeda accepted him as a pupil. Carlos Gracie says that the softer, more pragmatic adaptation that focused more on ground fighting and leveraged aspects of judo rather than throws, because of the inability to perform any judo throws due to his size, was created by his younger sibling, Helio Gracie. Helio's oldest son, Rurion Gracie, is a jiu-jitsu grandmaster and one of the co-founders of the UFC, and one of the few people in the world to hold a 9th degree red belt in jiu-jitsu. There are 4 major branches of BJJ in Brazil: Gracie Humeda, Gracie Bada, Carlson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and Alliance Jiu-Jitsu. Each branch traces their roots back to Mitsuyo Maeda. BJJ shares some of its techniques with the original Kodokan Judo, especially the styles practiced before Judo became part of the Olympics. A submission hold in BJJ is often assimilated to the equivalent of checkmate, where the opponent is left with no other option but to tap out, be injured, or choked. Primary ground positions. Side control. In this position, the opponent is pinned to the ground from the side of their torso. Knee on belly. A modified side pin that is distinctly separated from the side control position. Full mount. In this position, one sits on an opponent's front torso or chest, controlling the opponent with his or her body weight and hips. Back mount. In this position, one attaches to the back of their opponent by wrapping his or her legs around and hooking the opponent's thighs with their heel, or locking in a body triangle by crossing one shin across the waist like a belt, then placing the back of the opposing knee over the instep as a finishing triangle choke. North-south position. In this position, one is lying on their back on the ground, and their opponent is lying on top, with their head over the chest area controlling the arms. Guards. In this position, one is on their back controlling the opponent with their legs. One pushes and pulls with the legs or feet to unbalance and limit the movements of his or her opponent. Weight classes for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu competitions. Rooster. Light feather. Feather. Light middle. Medium heavy. Heavy. Super heavy. Ultra heavy. And open class. The weight classes have different weight requirements for juvenile male, adult female, and juvenile females. There are also separate weight classes for those with a gi and those without a gi. Tournaments. Numerous local and regional tournaments. 2 major. Sports Jiu-Jitsu International Federation and International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. Pan American Championships. European Championships. Mundials. California, New York, and Texas are the 3 states in the U.S. that host tournaments frequently. Other tournaments in North America include Battleground Grappling Championship, American Grappling Federation, North American BJJ Federation, and North American Grappling Association. BJJ is greatly differentiated from other martial arts because of its emphasis on ground fighting. BJJ practitioners often cross-train with wrestling, judo, and sambo. Training methods: submissions, sparring, and live drilling. Drills in which techniques are practiced against a non-resisting and resisting partner. Isolation sparring, often referred to as positional drilling, where only a certain technique or a set of techniques are used. Full sparring, where each practitioner tries to submit their opponent through technique. BJJ gyms follow a certain set of ground rules that instill trust, respect, and cleanliness. Take shoes off before stepping on mat. Bow before and after stepping on mat. Line up in rank order before and after class. Not teaching or explaining techniques to lower ranks. Addressing teacher as coach or professor. Keep gi closed with belt. Bow or shake hands before and after sparring. Cover any cuts with tape or gauze. Have good hygienic practices. Safety. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is one of the safest full contact martial arts. The few injuries that may be incurred usually affect the joints and rarely the head. The most common are ACL tears, rotator cuff tears, and spinal disc herniations. Many are repairable via surgery with an extended rehab. Skin health. Being exposed to regular skin abrasions and unsanitary mat conditions commonly contracted skin disease include ringworm and pedigo, herpes gladiatorum, and staph infection. Proper hygienic practices, regular cleaning of classroom mats, showering immediately after class with soap, disinfecting and covering any open wounds, thorough cleaning of gi or rash guard and headgear before the next class, not sharing towels or uniforms, and using barrier cream greatly reduces your chance of contracting a disease. Cauliflower ear. The ear can become easily damaged and begin to swell. If not immediately treated, the swollen cartilage will separate from the perichondrium and become permanently swollen or deformed. Here's a list of some Jiu Jitsu masters and grandmasters. Jiu Jitsu masters: Curl belts, 7th and 8th degree. Carlos Gracie Jr., Royler Gracie, Royce Gracie, Renzo Gracie. Jiu Jitsu grandmasters: 9th degree, red belt. Carlson Gracie, Carly Gracie, Flavio Varing, Rorian Gracie, Relson Gracie, Carlos Robeson Gracie Sr., Rickson Gracie, Rolls Gracie, Francisco Montior, Regan Machado. 10th degree, red belt. Carlos Gracie, Oswaldo Gracie, Gosteo Gracie Jr., George Gracie, Helio Gracie, Oswaldo Fala, Luis Franca Fijo. Keanu Reeves trained under Regan Machado for John Wick, and Ed Neal, who played Al Bundy, is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt who trained under Rory and Grassi.